Hello, welcome to the third analysis video. This is going to be a game played by Colby, and this is a match between Zoe Lee Sin and Scouts with, of course, MF Quinn. And this is a very interesting game, and without further ado, let's get into it. There's a lot to unpack, a lot of different lines and variations to consider. Sorry for the slightly low quality. I think it's like 480p or something. So in this matchup, it's actually very difficult if they have Plaza because we don't have a good way to deal with it. But for now, you just have to make do with what you have. So with Zoe here, of course, you play turn 1 Zoe. Not gonna even bother analyzing that. So in this position, our opponent actually plays, passes, and then we play Sparklefly. However, when they pass here, we should instantly pass. So in this position, you should always pass. And if you already know this, you can probably skip forward a couple minutes, but I'm going to cover this topic once for those of you who are seeing this for the first time. So in this position, because we don't need our creature mana, we will have all of our mana for, say, turn 3, turn 4. And so if we were to choose the pass and open attack after playing Super Cool Star Chart, which we should be doing next turn anyway, we will have 3 mana on turn 3, and we lose none of that mana going to turn 4. So we can either play our Eye of the Dragon or Sparklefly in turn 3 or 4 with no detriment if we were to choose to pass this round. We're not giving anything up by passing and then playing them later. In order to give an analogy, it would be like to say if there was a tournament next week and you could sign up now, but if you sign up now, you will not be able to edit your deck submissions. In that case, there's no reason to sign up now. What do? You wait until the day of the tournament, the day that signups are closing in order to sign up, because you might change your mind on what deck lists you want to bring, maybe make some edits, maybe change your lineup. But right now, if you were to sign up today, you are committing to that lineup with no upside. So in this position, in order for us to play Sparklefly, we are essentially committing ourselves to play Sparklefly, which is the same result as playing Sparklefly 2 turns from now in the best case scenario. And in our best case scenario in playing Sparklefly is the same result as playing Sparklefly next turn or the turn after that with no upside. So in other words, we know that the worst case scenario in 2 turns would be for the same result as us playing Sparklefly now. Now another thing is that in this position, our opponent actually could, for example, have options like Sharp Sight, which we shouldn't really worry about. It's okay if they Sharp Sight and block our Zoe, but overall in this position, because we don't use any of our mana, you should not worry about passing, because our creature mana is not valuable and their creature mana is valuable. Now in this specific scenario, it's even worse because our opponent actually does play Brightsteel Protector and ends up hitting us in the face for 2 damage. So what happens is that playing Sparklefly actually causes us to take 5 damage, because first the Brightsteel Protector hits us this turn for 3 damage, we heal for 1, so that's 2 effective damage. And on turn 4, it's going to either hit us again, or if we manage to block it, which we probably won't, it's going to most likely allow another 3 attack unit to hit us in the face. So even that we could have blocked instead. So regardless of how it works, Brightsteel Protector is going to cause us to take an extra 3 damage on turn 4. So overall, we're taking 5 damage. And now the thing is, when I looked over this game initially, at first I wondered why our opponent would pass and then play Brightsteel when we play Sparklefly. And I recently realized that it was because they were playing around Mountain Goat. If we had Mountain Goat, then them playing Brightsteel, us playing Mountain Goat is useless for them. They don't want to make that trade. They waste the play effect to play Brightsteel when it's not going to go face. But now they know it's going to go face. So essentially, us playing Sparklefly early locks us out of our ability to have other options later, and also allows our opponent to get 5 face damage because they were playing around Mountain Goat. But what you should take away is that in that position, you should always pass, play Super Cool Star Chart, and open attack. So now, for example, we would have 5 mana. We could open attack. We could play Eye of the Dragon, have 2 spell mana going into turn 4. Maybe play Bubble Trouble and Paddle Star if they were to play MF into a Scout. For example, if they play MF into Grizzled Ranger or MF into Island Navigator, we would be able to Paddle Star the MF, take some damage, and then get a Dragon Link, heal some of it back. and then maybe play Lee Sin, and then decide where we go from there on turn 5. So in this position, we play Super Cool Star Chart and get Crescent Strike, and our opponent plays MF. So now here it's interesting because our opponent. So you should notice that if we were to pass on turn 2, our opponent would only have MF, but they would have 2 extra spell mana. This 2 extra spell mana isn't actually a big deal, but in this position, they play Island Navigator and go to 1 spell mana. And what we should do is we should just kill the MF this turn. And the reason is because if we stun the MF here, they scout attack, deal 4 damage, and then we kill the MF and they attack again and deal 5 damage because they can't attack with the 1/1 because our Sparklefly would block their 1/1. So what happens is we take 9 damage if we stun the MF and kill the MF this turn. And if we use Crescent Strike, we take 7 damage because they can attack with Brightsteel Protector and MF, and it deals 7 damage. And we get rid of the MF, and we more importantly we save our Crescent Strike. For example, if they were to play Quinn next turn and Scout Attack, it wouldn't be a big deal because we would have the attack token. We could maybe Super Cool Star Chart to get a Serpent to get rid of the Valor, protect our Zoe. We could do all sorts of things. And then if they develop anything scary on their attack turn, like Genevieve, Cytherea, anything like that, we could just play Crescent Strike, block a lot more damage than it's blocking this turn, which is only 2 damage compared to Paddle Star, whereas Paddle Star takes 2 actions, so it's really slow. You want to get it out when you can if you're going to use it as a removal / defensive spell. However, as a benefit of playing the Crescent Strike now, we do get to keep 2 spell mana, which allows us to play Lee Sin, but overall, it's not really that good. So what could have happened, for example, is we could have an Eye of the Dragon out now instead of Sparklefly. We would have 1 spell mana, we would have a Dragonling, and everything would be great after we kill MF. Now, a thing to notice here is that if we were to play properly, then we might actually not go for the Paddle Star play because they would have 2 spell mana to, say, for example, Sharp Sight their MF. It's not certain, but it is quite far deviated from the main line of play, so I'm not gonna analyze that any further. But so here we play Lee Sin, and if we were to have, for example, Pale Cascade or anything, they know that we have Super Cool Star Chart. If they play Quinn, we just challenge their MF for free, so we end up burning their mana here. We take the pass. There's no reason to commit all of our mana to a spell just to try to kill their MF, especially when we know that if, for example, they have Riposte, our Lee Sin dies since we have no 2 mana spell unless we pick Moonsilver from Super Cool Star Chart. Now in this position, we're getting really low. We go down to 7 HP. We could have a lot more health, but such is life. So now he tries to kill the MF with Bubble Trouble. Alternatively, what could have happened is that we could have had probably a Dragonling out, and then we could just the MF would be gone, so we could block with the Dragonling, and then whatever our opponent develops, we can just Crescent Strike. But, you know, here we play Paddle Star to kill the MF. So, I mean, we don't really have anything else we can do. We can't really stun the Cytherea or anything. So we just kill the MF here, and then we have to block the MF with our Sparklefly, which we wouldn't have needed to. So, again, this is what the Sparklefly did for us. But now we can finally develop our Eye of the Dragon, start getting the Dragonlings. Our Zoe is almost leveled up. This puts our Lee Sin at 3 out of 5, I believe, 4 out of 8, I believe, and Zoe at, I think, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so Zoe is at 6 right now, and Lee Sin is at 4. Our opponent plays Ranger's Resolve, denies 1 lifesteal, gives Cytherea 1 extra health, keeps the Brightsteel Protector alive for 1 mana. Overall, I mean, it's value, it's tempo. We play Eye of the Dragon. Obviously, it's 1 mana and we get our Dragonling. Also brings Zoe to 7, unless I'm miscounting. So Deep Med brings Zoe to 8. Lee Sin is now at 5. And here we of course play super cool starter, see what we get. So in this position, this is actually a very critical position. The thing about us is that with a leveled up Zoe, all of our units are going to get lifesteal next turn with Eye of the Dragon summon. So the only threat of us dying is if we cannot block our opponent's units, which would happen if, for example, our opponent attacked with Cytherea, and it could be a little bit dangerous in terms of what happens. So what we actually do here is we play Serpent, so we have all 4 mana, and also the Zoe level up trigger, and then we play double Hush to level up our Lee Sin and kick the Cytherea. That if we kick the Cytherea, because right now we have enough value. We need to focus on making sure that our opponent doesn't have a way to kill us. We have the Zoe triggers. We have Lee Sin. The leveled up Lee Sin is going to completely end the game. It's going to have lifesteal. It's going to have overwhelm. Everything is going to be fine. We're going to be full HP, and our opponent won't be able to kill us. But because we picked the Celestial Doggo, now it's a little bit spooky. And our opponent plays Brightsteel Protector. So now, unless we pull the Cytherea, we're not going to get the lifesteal with our Dragonling. So now with the Messenger, we draw a card, but now we can't level up our Lee Sin this turn, which means we can't get rid of the Cytherea, and we cannot lifesteal unless we pull Cytherea, which we don't want to because we want to get rid of one of their attackers more than we want to get rid of one of their blockers. Now, in this position, we, of course, hush the Grizzled Ranger, get rid of the Badger Bear, and then pull it with the Lee Sin. But we could have pulled it with the Serpent. Because if we were to level up our Lee Sin, and we could pull the Grizzled Ranger, kick the Cytherea, hush the Grizzled Ranger, and waste a hush just to level Lee Sin. Now in this position, he hushes and pulls the Grizzled Ranger, which is the correct play. Attacking with the Dragonling doesn't actually do anything, but at the same time, if our opponent happens to have Relentless Pursuit in our hand, we're dead no matter what, so there's no point to consider it. And now we get the 0 mana Behold the Infinite from Zoe, so we finally level up our Lee Sin. And we pick Golden Sisters. Serpent doesn't do anything. All our opponent's units have Fearsome anyway, so playing it this turn isn't really a big deal. Golden Sisters keeps us safe in case, we have to wipe out our board to survive next turn, excluding Lee Sin, of course. Then we can play Golden Sisters on turn 9 and pretty much heal up, guarantee lethal, maybe, all sorts of chances to make sure that we have a backup plan in case we have to sacrifice a lot of resources to survive this turn. So now at this point we can't actually survive on the board, so we have to play Deep Med to look for Guiding Touch, and then so we Guiding Touch our Nexus and then hush one of their Fearsome units. Again, as we see, the hush wasn't very valuable. We should have just threw it away to level Lee Sin, make sure we get rid of Cytherea, so that not only can they not open attack, but if they choose to attack with Cytherea, they have to give up 6 mana and of course, the ability to open attack. So now it turns out that our opponent doesn't have Riposte, doesn't have Sharp Sight, doesn't have any way to lethal us, so we do manage to survive. And as a consequence of our opponent not having lethal and not having any rallies, we do win the game this turn. Now that we're kicking them with Lee Sin with lifesteal, we're doing a ton of damage. It's just over now. So we did manage to win, but we could have increased our chances of winning by a lot if we went with the double Hush and Serpent play. We could have played with good practice by passing on turn 2, and we probably should have played Bubble Trouble Paddle Star on the MF, although it would have been better if we had an Eye of the Dragon instead of Sparklefly, should we have done that, because we could have saved Crescent Strike. But overall, I hope that this game was educational, and I thought it was very interesting to analyze. I've already memorized the game by heart, and I know every single action from the start to the end because I've reanalyzed it so many times. Thanks for watching, and if you want to know more about passing, I have written a guide on it. This was basically covered in one section of the guide in terms of good practice, and you can read other sections if you want to learn more about the different situations where passing is correct. And also, if you like the video, you don't have to subscribe, you don't have to like, but if you have feedback, if you have questions about why a certain play is wrong, or why I didn't analyze a certain play, maybe I made a mistake, you can post it in the comments. Or if you have a friend that you think is trying to be a better player, please recommend it to them, because I'm sure they'll enjoy it. Have a good day, and we'll be coming out with some new videos in the next couple days.